Welcome to the Lightbulb Moment Podcast. You are listening to one of our foundation episodes where we explore the basic terms and concepts of virtual classrooms. We will refer back to these foundation episodes in our future podcasts. To listen to our regular format, just skip to episode 4. You can find out more at Lightbulbmoment.online. Welcome to the Lightbulb Moment Podcast. You are listening to Foundation Episode 1, What is the Lightbulb Moment Podcast? You are here with Mike, I'm your host, and I'm also joined by virtual classroom expert Joe. Say hello, Joe.
Hi, everyone.
And Joe, explain to us how you got into L&D and virtual classrooms.
Well, thanks very much. People might know me from Twitter as Lightbulb Joe, and Lightbulb Moment is my company. And it came about after about 15 years in learning and development. I started out self-employed. I've worked in a variety of different industries, further in higher education, the charity sector, as well as international businesses such as Turner Broadcasting that own CNN News and Cartoon Network, and also Bupa Medical Insurance. And then for the last 5 years, it's all been about the Lightbulb Moment.
And how specifically did you get into virtual classrooms?
Quite funny, actually. I'd done some work around e-learning, and whilst e-learning can be great, it wasn't my thing. I love the live in-person stuff. And I was lucky enough to get onto a virtual classroom course. And I thought, yeah, that's okay. It'll be about e-learning, but all skills and experience is good. And within about 20 minutes of being on the very first session, I suddenly realized what a virtual classroom was and went, oh, so it's actually the same as a face-to-face live classroom, except it's through the computer. So actually you can get together with really geographically dispersed people. How cool is that? So then I've basically spent the last 5 years developing and honing my skill on that and now help other people with it.
I absolutely love the fact that your first experience of virtual classrooms you thought was e-learning. That is just absolutely amazing. And
but that's so many of our clients think the same thing. So actually it's a really useful experience to have.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. And you could almost say that in those first 20 minutes of that virtual classroom course, that was your light bulb moment. I had to go there.
Is this the tone we're setting for all of our podcasts now?
I think it potentially could be. I think. Yeah.
So we've heard a little bit about me, and people know I'm Joe Cook, but you're Michael Cook. We've got the same last name. So who on earth are you?
Well, if you have to ask. For my sins, I am Joe's brother. And I'm also the business operations manager at Lightbulb Moment. And I have had a bit of a different background. I've never really been in L&D. I started more as sort of customer service. I then went into sort of financial sector, insurance, accountancy, and then have landed up with Lightbulb Moment and working with my sister.
Yeah, for both of our sins, yeah. I think.
Yes, potentially both of our sins there. But it's interesting because we have different backgrounds and we both do different things for Lightbulb Moment. And I guess maybe now is the time to actually go over what is Lightbulb Moment, or what is Lightbulb Moment to you, Joe?
So what I do at Lightbulb Moment for kind of 3.5, 4 years before you came along was a lot of consultancy and work around modern learning, specifically webinars and virtual classrooms, helping and supporting people and teams in how to design and deliver really great sessions. And that's just gone from strength to strength since you arrived. So one of the key things that we do is we take a whole team, could be a charity, a corporate, whatever organization, and we develop whatever skills they have or don't have around the virtual classroom. There are some other things we do as well, but that's one of the key elements.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the fact that you're like, since I arrived in Lightbulb.
I maybe should have worded that slightly different, or despite you arriving.
It's okay. I'll edit that out in post. Yeah, sure I will. But yeah, no, it is one of those things, because I remember having conversations with you when I was in my previous role where I was saying, wow, you need to take your company, you need to be doing this yourself. And I think it's really interesting and scary sort of process to go through of actually then jumping into having your own company, trying to do all of this yourself, and then the scary factor of bringing your brother along for the ride as well. But you're absolutely right. We focus on upskilling teams to deliver virtual classroom training, and one of the things that I've had a crash course in L&D these last 18 months that I've been with Lightbulb Moment. And one of the things that you're always pushing, Joe, is sort of, modern learning techniques. And that is the fact that learning isn't just whilst a course is being run. It's before, it's after, it's retaining that information. And so for me, one of the things that I really love about Lightbulb Moment is the fact that we have continuous professional development for virtual classrooms, where people can continually gain confidence, skills, and experience. And also the fact that we've got the Lightbulbmoment.community, a free community that anyone can join. You don't need to sign up to read or to see what's going on. You do sign up if you want to post and ask questions and get responses from the community, but it's all part of that continue learning. And explain to us, because that's a big thing that you really pushed for us to do.
Well, I think, it's absolutely great to go on a training course. But what we all know is a training course gets the ball rolling. And what I wanted to be able to do was say, well, beyond, the 2, 3, 5, 10 sessions that I've spent with you, how are you actually going to develop your skills over time? Because we all know it takes 3, 6, 12 months and longer to really get those nuances of any skill and to build up that experience. And we also need people around us so that we can say, how do I do that? Or please, can you help me with this? And so by having that free open community, that was a really important thing for me, so that we could say it doesn't matter whatever your budget is or wherever you are in the world, you can come here and somebody will help you. And that will be either me or you with our experience, and also the rest of the community too. And likewise with our continuous professional development, that's a subscription you have to pay for, but it's about the little and often, about having people around you to support you and being able to practice.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things that I really picked up being on the virtual classroom sessions with you. You really push that engagement and open discussion with everyone. And that is then what led into, well, let's actually have a free community to continue that kind of open discussion. And that has also led us to what we're doing right now, this podcast. Just give us some of the highlights. Why is it you want to be here talking to our potential listeners?
I think the thing for me is it's all about working out loud, learning from failure, sharing those experiences. I learned so much from when I hear or read or listen to others. And I want to do the same, but about this topic that we specialize in. And after every single session that we deliver, whether it's a public webinar, hosting for somebody else, a one-on-one session, a training session, a coaching session, you and I always have a debrief. And we were getting so much out of it. We sort of thought, well, why don't we just record our debrief rather than just have, just lose that in the ether, and then everybody can learn from it. And then if we put that then into our free community or on Twitter or LinkedIn, then people can comment on it, ask us stuff, maybe tell us stuff we don't know, and then we can all benefit from it.
Yeah, and I think that's such an amazing aspiration to have. And it's the fact that it's because you are, and in Lightbulb Moment, we reflect on pretty much everything that goes on, and we actually have a special time we try to set aside each week where we actually reflect on what has been good and bad within with our working week.
Yeah, we quite often spend a lot of time on what has been an utter failure this week.
Utter failure does come up every now and then, unfortunately. But I think the main thing is the fact that we do a lot of sessions, whether they're webinars, whether they're virtual classrooms, even just sometimes, consultations with clients. And all of a sudden we sit there and go, wow, that was either really interesting information that we hadn't thought of, or potentially after a session we sit there and go, wow, there are definitely some learning points we can improve on.
Yeah, one or two of those. I think that's a major spoiler for the upcoming podcast, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Major spoiler. We make mistakes and we have open, honest discussions about it. And that's what we wanted to do, because it's the fact that, because, you know, potentially some of you out there, you might be delivering a virtual classroom, you know, 5 times a week, once a month, once every couple of months. And actually it's quite a nervy thing to be doing, and you want to hear from people who actually do it more often, are successes, of which there are successes. I would just, on occasion. Yeah, I would like to stress, but also the things that we do where we actually sit and go, do you know what, that could have been better, we could have done things better there, or we've learned from this, let's actually share that in the community, in the podcast, and that's where we want to go with this, isn't it?
Absolutely is. And so what are some of the things we're doing in the next 2 foundation episodes, Mike?
Okay, so the point of the foundation episode is so that we can refer back to them, give you some of those basic points with virtual classrooms. So in the next foundation episode, episode 2, we're going to be looking at sort of breaking down what an actual virtual classroom is, maybe some of the misconceptions, how it works, some of the different terminology, things like that. And then in episode 3, our final foundation episode, we're going to be looking at some of the main tools, applications, the platforms, and sort of the main things that you can do in a virtual classroom. So it's going to be one of those things that if you feel like you're pretty good in virtual classrooms, you just want some of the tips and the more interesting discussions, you could easily skip to episode 4. But we are going to be referring back to our foundation episodes, so it's worth listening to just to get those basic ideas of what a virtual classroom is.
And so then when we move into our regular format, what can people expect apart from failure and a lot of laughter from us?
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. So what we're going to try and do is have episodes which are, say, 20 to 25 minutes long, looking at a specific point. Maybe it will be we've just come off of a session and there is a specific learning point or a failure or a success that we can go through. And that's going to be the core part of our podcast. And we might well have some shorter ones where, as Joe has said, we always have this debrief afterwards. And maybe we would just record some of these shorter ones of just, wow, this is what went on. That could have been better, or this was great. And we might just have some shorter 10-minute podcasts with just some key learning points to take away.
Sounds great. Well, I'm really looking forward to it, Mike.
Yeah, me too. And I look forward to the next podcast with you, Joe.
Thank you for listening. We really hope you enjoyed it and look forward to your feedback and your comments. If you like the podcast, please remember to subscribe and to share. You can follow Mike on Twitter at Mike Lightbulb. You can follow me on Twitter at LightbulbJoe, and for other updates at Moment Lightbulb. You can also find our podcasts on YouTube along with more great content. If you're in need of virtual classroom training, check out Lightbulbmoment.online. For our blogs, Lightbulbmoment.info. And remember our free community for questions and resources, Lightbulbmoment.community.